Yeah, it's great when you put out a thesis and you're like, this is what I think is going to happen. This is where I think the ball is going. And then as you truck along, the years go by, and then you start seeing people that you might have respect for, have a lot of knowledge, and then they start echoing things that you said to yourself years ago. And you're like, oh, wow. One of the emphasis I'll make is a lot of people are jumping the boat here. A lot of people like to pick the blinds and the color of the walls before they actually pick what kind of cement and how the foundation is going to be built. A lot of talk on layer 2 solutions, a lot of talk on layer 2 communities. Layer 1 is the hardest. Layer 2 is not going to be that difficult. You don't have to worry about security of the token balances. There's a lot off your plate, and you have DAOs to work with in terms of having a layer 1 self-funding mechanism. The reason it's so difficult, and I've learned this, and I'm sure other people have learned it the hard way as well, you're not going to get a group of humans to do anything, ever. It's not going to happen. There has to be an existential threat. There has to be something that brings everyone together where they're better off fighting together than they are alone. If there isn't that cataclysmic event where it forces everyone out of the burning house, where you can't stay, it doesn't matter your politics, it doesn't matter anything. If you stay, you're done. That's what needs to happen. And, a lot of people are starting to say, we need this, we need that. If you give a group of humans time and you say, let's form the organization, the first question is, well, who's going to lead it? Let's do it this way. I have an idea. You have an idea. 10 years later, you're still complaining, bitching, and hate each other and got nothing done. But when you're kind of forced on the boat, like we were with Hive, we had this alien invasion-like event. We had somebody literally come and destroy the chain, or try to, in every form and fashion, squeezing every last person they possibly could off to the other side. Now you have a group of humans who are all fighting for the same thing, in which no one owns, which is very rare, because no matter where you go, you dig down, you have it in Bitcoin, but once you venture off, you kind of have a feeling like, oh, well, maybe this group owns the chain more. I'm kind of working for them. But with Hive, we saw as Arcane said, we saw all this development. Why was that? I think it was because people feel that their piece of ownership in Hive matters, right? I might have a small piece, but it actually matters because there's not some pre-mine that's going to invalidate my choice. Like, my small thing matters, and in the scheme of things could be a butterfly effect that affects a proposal or does something. And when you have that sense of ownership, it's like a new frontier almost, like we're all working together, figuring this thing out together. There isn't some central point snapping fingers telling us what to do. And now you're seeing people burn the midnight oil. The Hive core devs, I give a shout out to people, GTG, Arcane, all these people who are constantly tinkering away, making badass use cases. We see that. And I believe at least for me especially, I feel like we actually have ownership in this chain, and that brings a part of passion that you don't get when you feel like you're working for a Steam Inc., for example. So I think that's one of the reasons why we've seen this technology skyrocket. So it's a really fun event. It's really difficult to get to, but when you have that sort of big bang moment, and now it's like, okay, we have something that no one owns, but we all feel like we have a little bit of ownership in. That's when it gets magical, and we're starting to see what happens when you have that. Very difficult to form, though, and you can't buy it, you can't manufacture it. It sort of has to happen on its own, serendipity. Like, we didn't buy Hive, we didn't manufacture Hive. It happened of itself due to external circumstances. So that's why I found it fascinating.